Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
end, beginning, it's all the same. Except for this episode that we're doing, we are actually going to be doing something different and covering a film we've both seen for the full length of the episode. But we're not alone on this recording, are we, Soph?
No, we're not.
We're joined by very special guests from the Kids What Are We Watching podcast. Hello.
Hello! Oh, I love that. That was a really good intro, that was.
We're quite good at syncing up with our hellos and goodbyes and stuff like that. We've practiced.
Amazing.
So just very briefly, just like to introduce yourselves and what you guys do.
I'm Isla, and I'm the biologist. I'm Neve. I'm here.
She's here. I'm Andrew. I do all the editing, and we watch, like you, we watch movies. I try to introduce the kids to classic films, and we're working our way through a list of 100 films just now, just picking stuff we love and going to the cinema a lot and just speaking about movies like you guys do. So it's good fun to be here. I'm excited for this.
Yes, I'm very glad to have you join us for talking about one of my personal favorites, nostalgic films growing up, which is The Dark Crystal from 1982. Before we get into things, what's your guys' relationship with the film as such? Of it? Do you kind of have a good grasp on loving it or anything like that? Or?
Okay, so there's 5 movies that spring to mind when I think of under 6 childhood. You've got Dark Crystal, Princess Bride, Labyrinth, Shark's Tale, and all of the Barbie movies. Those are the only 5 we have.
They watched Shark's Tale so much as kids, I could quote the first 10, 15 minutes.
Dark Crystal was a movie we would go back to. It was short enough that we could watch it without getting bored of it. But it was long enough for us to get really attached to the characters, and we've got good impressions of the Skeksis now.
Yeah.
It's a practice.
As daddy, it's when they were growing up, you start kids off with the Disney films. So there was a lot of Little Mermaid. Shark's Tale was a big favorite with them, and it kind of slowly moved into the real life movies. So you start off with Labyrinth, because Labyrinth's nice, it's not too scary, it's got puppets in it. And I made my way I've made my way through Willow and The Princess Bride.
And The Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal was probably the last one I showed them, because I thought, right, this is the one that's most kind of scary. If you understand, it's quite dark. And the Skeksis themselves are really...
They're horrifying.
Yeah, so this was kind of the last of the kids' movies that I got. I thought if they watch this, they'll love this. And fortunately they did, but it was one of the last ones, because I thought this is the one that's going to give them nightmares.
Willow was the worst.
Oh, you hated Willow because you hated the guy with the skull mask.
No. It was the dragon and the
this one, we recently did an episode about that recently with my co-worker, and he was saying that's one of his favorites from childhood. And I hadn't seen that for a good while. I remember there was a dragon thing that came up with 2 heads and stuff. It was a bit jarring in terms of how freaky that was.
Dog rat thing.
There's pig rat dog things. They were pretty terrifying. As he described as if there's nothing as scary as that, it's not a scary dog. So
when they turned into pigs as well, that was just wrong.
Oh yeah, I forgot Valkyrie turned into a pig. So so this was kind of the one I probably most wanted to show them was this and Labyrinth, but this was probably the last one I showed them, because I'm this is the one that will give them nightmares, because it's quite dark.
Well, for me, I got scared by a lot of things when I was a younger child, but this didn't particularly terrify me. I kind of fascinating. Even back then, it was wow, these creature designs and everything. I'm big into monsters and things like that anyway. So,
what age were you, Paul, when you first saw The Dark Crystal?
Well, put into context, my mum showed me on a VHS tape, so that was the first time since I've gone through all like from VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K now. So seeing all of the iterations of it, so it's stuck me throughout my childhood, and it just keeps fascinating me, like coming back to the film and like looking at all the little intricate details that the world has to offer. That's what really kind of keeps me coming back to the film. That intrigues me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do. I've only watched The Dark Crystal clearly because of Paul. Like, I have not seen this as a child at all, believe it or not. This was completely new on my radar. I think you introduced me to The Labyrinth firstly.
I think, yeah.
And to be fair, I have a problem with David Bowie as well. I'm not going to lie. I just know. I know my dad absolutely loves him, but he's one of those where if he loves something so much, he will play it and play it and play it to the point of where you get sick to death of hearing it. So like David Bowie is just a little bit of a thing for me, isn't it? It's like I can't actually stand him, even though he's so iconic. So Labyrinth wasn't the best one for you to probably show me. No,
although that one I feel like is more a bit scary in the fact that it's kind of like, you know, child abduction in a sense.
Yeah,
that's what when I wasn't as attached to that film, but obviously seeing that when I think it was uni days before I even saw that properly for the first time, and it was like, oh, this child's getting abducted. I'd anything to do with like a young child, like, you know, he's helpless and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like that kind of like urgency that goes on in that film. It's like he's going to turn to the a goblin by the what was it, the clock strikes 12 or whatever it is, kind of
not Cinderella.
Something along those lines, and it's like, that doesn't sit right with me as much. So that was seem more scary to me than Dark Crystal does. So it's weird.
Labyrinth, I think, is our most go back. For us, it's our most go back movie because we listen to the soundtrack a lot. Because the music's is great, and I always have it if I make a new playlist. One of the songs always sneak in there.
The Dance Magic Dance.
Yeah, or Chill Down. You know those weird the orange things that are in the forest, the puppets.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, that one's good.
That's weird. Yeah. Talking of soundtracks and stuff, I like the Dark Crystal so much. Obviously, the listeners won't see it. But I've got that. I managed to get the hand on this vinyl soundtrack of the Dark Crystal. A very.
Are you putting that on your wish list, Dad?
Well, I did write some notes. Hold on, see, I got some notes. Composer was Trevor Jones. He also did the music for Labyrinth.
Labyrinth,
Excalibur, and Last of the Mohegans. So he did have he won an Oscar for a short film. But I don't know if he was nominated again, but he didn't win after that. So certainly if you look at it like Labyrinth, and for me Excalibur as well, he's done some amazing music. So and I think when we started watching this, it comes up with the first kind of few bars, and Neve was just like, "Oh, I love this music."
I didn't know how it stuck in my brain, but every time the music was playing, I was like, "Do do do."
Yeah,
everyone knows it.
Yeah.
And I think just after that, when the monologue starts, I think you burst into a different time, a different planet, and she just started like reeling off the intro.
He has a great voice. He has a great intro voice. Like, he could narrate your life as you want to. Yeah, he could narrate your life, like my life. It used to be David Attenborough, but now it's this guy.
I love it. When it opened up, did I say I felt like it was Star Wars? Is that where I went with it? And you said I was close.
With the, I guess, the musical stings, but I think George Lucas and Empire Strikes Back, when I was at around the same time or just before this was in production. So I think when Frank Oz, who was one of the directors of this and one of the puppeteers and everything, was working on this, obviously with Jim Henson at the time with the Muppets and everything, I believe he was asked to be on board to help create Yoda as a puppet in Empire Strikes Back anyway. So there's that kind of connection between the two films. I guess it's that weird thing with George Lucas and everything going on. So yeah.
So I'm not as
not too far off. No, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the puppetry in this
is amazing.
Is it on point? Yeah.
It is fantastic.
I mean, we watched the TV show.
And they have tongues in the TV show.
We subsequently watched the making of the TV show, and to see how they approach the puppetry now, and we've got all this technology and stuff.
Especially of the Skeksis, how they have to
have the Skeksis above them and then look down at a screen to like
Yeah.
see
See
where
what they
they're
look like.
pointing.
Yeah.
And if you think this film's in 1982, I mean, they didn't have like little miniature LED screens to look at. So the job that they did as puppeteers back then must have been like astronomical. You've got these huge costumes on, and it looks, I mean, the Skeksis are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Chancellor, when he's like stripped of his clothes, like you have to like, he's probably just one puppet, like on the wires, not the wires,
On the sticks.
poles,
Yeah.
because they couldn't have had a person behind that.
It was so good, and he looked so creepy, and I how they made him was just amazing.
And they also do something you don't see very often. They have puppets in water, which is you. There's the scene where obviously Jen falls in the water later on. You know, that has a whole set of problems because you got to have like, you know, it's got to be waterproof. You've still got to have a puppeteer in there and stuff like that. So they did do a lot of really kind of like, it looks simple now, but some really like groundbreaking stuff. I mean, Labyrinth, you know, kind of built on that as well. But yeah, a lot of really, really brilliant stuff. But like I said, I always watch Show It to the Kids because it's somewhere between. It's like more grown up than the Muppets.
Yes, definitely.
You know, so yeah.
And the Muppets are fantastic.
We still love the Muppets.
We love the Muppets.
Yes.
We do. Christmas Carol, Muppets.
Oh,
Yes.
Like
Best
my
Muppets.
favorite.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the latest thing where they did the Halloween, the Haunted Mansion thing on Disney Plus? Yeah. What did you think of that
We missed
incident?
the rat. We don't think
Rizzo,
Pepe is
yeah.
as good.
Yeah,
Rizzo.
he wasn't in it, was he? It was Pepe.
No.
I don't like, not a big fan of Pepe. I prefer Rizzo. Rizzo and Gonzo are a more iconic duo.
Yeah.
Pepe's just that weird from the Muppets now. It's like a weird co-host situation with Pepe. You can see him for 5 minutes and then be like,
Yeah, I thought there was something wrong with the Gonzo puppet. I don't know. Maybe it's just they're using like maybe just Gonzo's old now, if you understand. But yeah, I thought his puppet was a bit off. There was something weird about it. So I don't know.
I think
it was all right. It's not as brilliant as like Treasure Island.
Oh no. You could tell it was. I think they're even making fun of it in the thing of like say budget cuts or you know like very small cameos of like was it Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker and stuff in that. It was kind of like it was like a bit part of it. It's like that moving on now, kind of thing. So yeah, but yeah, no, the designs of the Skeksis in particular, like obviously like there's such character in every one of those characters. Kind of got their own personalities, haven't they? And in terms of the designs, they all look different in their own way. You've got like long nosed ones and like more chubbier faced ones. And
the one with a gooey nose one.
like in the Age of Resistance series.
Skekmal? Was that her name? Yeah.
Skekmal, yeah.
She had the allergies to the grasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was allergic to grass or something.
But then once again, that's them doing stuff that's like pushing the boundaries of puppeteering again, because you'd never get that sort of thing because that would get in the way of the shots or would get in the way of the, you know, would damage the puppet having goop all over it and stuff like that. So you don't see that kind of thing very often.
They might use what's it called, like a latex base, and just keep
reapplying it.
something like because you can just peel that off and it dries.
Okay,
It's like a wax strip though, so they need to put extra fuzziness underneath.
Fuzziness.
Yeah.
Well, their beaks are bald. Their beaks are bald.
No, but if it got anywhere else, they would need to pull it and put more.
We really like got into this. I don't know how many times they watched the TV show, but
I think I watched it once fully and then went back to watch like my favorite bits.
Yeah.
And then I watched how they made it.
Yeah, we went back and obviously in preparation for this episode, we kind of like went back through the series again and like really enjoyed it even for a second time viewing.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot more content and lore involved in that. Obviously, that's all before this.
Quite interesting as well, going back to the Dark Crystal, because I was straight away like thinking Jen, I'm like, oh, is he from
the
Stonewood
clan?
And then I was like,
that's what he said.
I have figured out who's the parents of who.
I don't think you have.
I have.
we'll give Neve her moment.
Yeah.
Neve theories. She has, so
I figured out.
Have you got names?
Okay, I can't remember one of their names, but I got the other ones.
So,
Go.
All right, so all right, so Jen's the son of because of his look alone, he's definitely one of the woodland
Elf.
they're not elves,
Gelflings.
gelflings.
and probably also the princess, because him and the princess get along a lot. I think they're going to have Jen. Kira is obviously Deet's daughter because Deet has the wings, and then the only Gelflings who have wings. Later on in the series, you meet the Gelfling from the desert who has the flute.
Oh yeah, the hunter guy that's got the purple.
Yeah.
The darker skinned.
I think him and Deet are going to have Kira. The reason why Jen has the flute though is because I think Jen's older, and as a gift they give him the flute, and then Deet has Kira.
Probably the Mystics got the flute off, or the hunter the archer.
Mhm.
He probably got it when he died because he killed the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other Mystics would have picked it up and then given it to Jen as a gift.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you get like people that love a film and then something else comes out and it's like, right.
You gotta
what's this?
got the
Yeah,
connections between it.
microscope on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see that way, because I thought Deet and I forgot his name. I'm rubbish with
Uh,
names.
Brienne.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I saw that kind of as a coupling in my head. So I thought it was more because he was really upset when she got kind of the darkening,
Yeah.
and when after at the end,
Oh my god, I just remembered. Deet could be their kids, and then what's his what was the name you just said?
Rian.
Rian. What's
Rian.
Rian's best friend?
No idea.
Gurjin.
Yeah, Gurjin and the princess, they could have, and it would still work in the line of the forest Gelflings.
I give you a week before that wall behind you is like covered with string and lines.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like deep,
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Kind
you
of
have like
banner
a
it all
fellowship
up. Yeah.
deep hub and what and all that. And it's like
And then Hop gets a baby spoon. Maybe
oh, I
Hop
love
gets
that.
a teaspoon.
I do think though, I get where you're coming from with Deet being like Kira, because she is really alike on that kind of like, she's so animal loving
and innocent.
and-
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
and but still, to be fair, Jen would be lost without her, to be honest, wouldn't he? Because he knows nothing.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the weak, despite being a lead character, he's a very weak lead character,
But
to be
also,
honest.
He would have never been able to get to the Dark Crystal as fast unless he had the land striders that
Yeah.
Kira had called upon.
He would
Yeah.
never know where it is. He was
Yeah,
never told
he was-
where the castle was. And Olga didn't tell him.
I did.
He was never
know where it
informed on
was.
anything. He was kind of like
No.
left to his own devices in a way. It's like, well, why don't you tell me this information before you died, or you know.
I do have it written down. It's like Jen's a bit thick. He repeats everything. So it's like the Mystic's like follow the sun for 3 days. The
it's
sun
one
for
day.
3
The sun-
days.
what is the sun?
Yeah, and it's like seek out Ogra. I must
Who's-
find Ogra.
Yeah.
And
Who's
it's like,
Ogra?
There's
stop
Olga.
repeating everything.
I know, yeah.
It's like,
And it's also a funny, like, especially he has these like inner monologues to himself, like, I don't like this, or
yeah.
or things like or right in the mud, and it's like, oh, is he actually saying that? Because sometimes the lips don't match what he's sometimes he's saying it, but he's not saying it in like an enthusiastic way.
So you think he's thinking in his head, and
So
he's saying it that
but
way.
sometimes it's not very clear, which is kind of like a bit, but
The
that's down to the
most-
puppeteering, I suppose.
The most annoying scenes when he's going up, he's like, Olgra. I've never heard of an Olgra. What is an Olgra? Is this an Olgra? Where is Olgra? The
Yeah.
sun's there. Where's Olgra?
he also
Walk.
going back to like inner monologue when he's sitting,
Hmm.
like Ogra gives him like about 7 or 8 crystals.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a box.
got-
A huge box.
Why didn't
It's
she
like-
label them? Yeah.
And it's like I've narrowed it down to these 3, and he's talking to himself, but I'm like, what? How did you narrow it down to those 3?
You
It's
can
like,
sense
what,
the presence.
Kenny?
Yeah, because
Okay.
one of them looked like just it kind of
One
looked
of them
like it was
was
just a
like-
square.
It said it was a shard, so you could automatically eliminate all of the ones that were round, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't assume that being a shard.
I know
So
the
I
shards
would-
are pointier, I would say.
So I would eliminate it to only the pointy ones, but I assume that it'd be still like 5 or 6. So I'd be sat there like, hey, it could be any one of these.
Also,
Yeah.
when he was doing the it's this, he takes his flute out and he does the things that the Mystics do.
Yeah.
These Mystics won't play the flute. I would just start screaming at them. Like, hoping one of them called out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
To be
just
fair,
scream
that's
and hope one puts their hands up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is probably like one of the most intelligible things that he does, though. To be fair, it's like, oh, I know, I'll use the sound of like the Mystics, what the call they do to make to determine which of those there's ones is kind of rings out, which is kind of like, like he's not very, like you say, it's like, and like shortly after that, when he's obviously leaves the Ori or whatever and the observatory, and he's like, now I've got the shard. What do I do with it? What is it? It's like, well, it's a shard. It is. It's like, where am I supposed to take it somewhere? Like, yeah, of course.
You don't need to. You can't tell him to give him some slack because no one actually told him anything. It was like in 2 minutes he got a briefing off the world that he was lied about because he had to learn English. Like, who needs to learn?
He learned words.
He learned
words that stay.
Written.
Yeah.
And he didn't know anything, so he's kind of just like when he was sitting with Olga for apparently hours on end, couldn't Olga just like tell him about the Skeksis or whatever? Couldn't she have used that time better to actually tell him things rather than just sitting in the corner like, you're not moving fast enough?
Questions. Too many questions.
Do you want a shard? Here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, to be fair, Olga's a bit shit, isn't she?
Yeah,
she's gone away. So if you just stick to the film, sorry, I mean, if you look at the TV series, she was in charge of the crystal. She gave it to the Skeksis. She went to the astral plane.
Charged her.
Yeah, she's gone to the astral plane or whatever it is. The shards become corrupted, which none of this, to be fair, is actually mentioned in the film. It doesn't say that she's the original protector.
No.
But yeah, like from the film point of view, it's like she has the knowledge, she just doesn't share it. And so do the mystics. It's like there's this, it's not until really sadly at the very end.
11th hour,
when, when he's standing there holding what's her name? Jen and
Kira.
He's holding Kira's dead body. And these higher mystics, these higher beings are kind of like
what were they called? The ethereals.
No, the
astrologicals.
Mescals or something like that.
I think I've got the name somewhere. They're called in the book I read. They're called Urskeks because they're like the combination of what the Uru or the mystics in terms of what they in the scriptures and stuff. But that's what they're called. The Urskeks is the name of the combined beings. Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
So he's standing there with dead Kira, and they're like, centuries ago, and it's like, now is not the time for exposition.
Why would you
my girlfriend's dead, come on.
They weren't even dating. It's just, why would you pick up a person that you've known for one day maybe and didn't even talk to you that much whilst you're riding these rabbit things?
But why
they dream fasted to get past that, didn't they? It's like, we know everything about each other now, we just did this, and it's like, everything.
I would like that though, instead of having to talk, if you just wanted to show somebody something. I feel like that would get you like life would be so much easier, wouldn't it? Like, here, this is how I'm feeling right now.
But like, why would you, if someone died in front of me and there's like lava underneath them, I just like kick them into lava.
You're such a harsh person.
Because why would I hold their dead body? Because in my mind, you don't get resurrected by like glowing seagulls that stand. I just push them in.
Needs been a bit harsh, but yeah, my point is, it's like Olga doesn't give any information, and you get the whole story at the very end, and then they take off.
Yeah.
Not even with their ship castle.
No, which is a weird bit, but they just kind of leave the planet. And
they do, but I do love Mother Olga. She's so sassy, isn't she? Like, don't you wish you had a little bit of Mother Olga in you? Just be like, kind of getting, everything, but you're not going to give anybody anything.
It's like all in riddles,
but she's just, I don't know. I would say out of all of them, she's my favorite character, even though it's all her fault, really.
It's the TV.
Her and Fiskig are the best people in the whole movie. Fiskig and Olga is a power duo. They are amazing.
I mean, when you just look at the film, like, everybody loves the film. It's like, you love the characters. We're kind of looking at it a bit more critically. I mean, I wouldn't usually sit and take notes and go, Jen's repeating everything, Olga's done this.
These things don't line up, or
and kind of nitpicking everything. It's like as a kid's film, I mean, it's still pretty groundbreaking. Like I said, even though I showed it them, and they're watching stuff like WALL-E, CGI stuff, and Toy Story and all that kind of thing, and kind of really good like high-end animation. You can still put this on, and they don't look at it like it's just puppets. They look at it for the story, and they love it for what it is. So it's when you start looking at it critically, you start looking at that. It's like, okay, the plot's a bit ham-fisted, and why didn't they tell them all this? But in the TV series, I think she she's actually a much better character, and she's a bit
definitely
more.
yeah.
I just love Olga because she's Olga.
She's
she's more apologetic in the TV show because she knows she's done something wrong. But in this, it's passed a lot of time. All this stuff's happened. So she's now came to understand that she did this thing wrong, but there is a way for her to fix it.
Yeah.
But also she loved the Gelflings so much, and to practically like make them almost like help the Skeksis kill them, that's probably made her a harsher person. And she probably doesn't want to imply something just in case that's going to kill the only Gelflings that are left. Say she turned around.
She needs them for the prophecy.
She needs them for the prophecy. So say she just turned around and scared them and went, yeah, I went to look at the stars and made the Skeksis rule everything, and that's kind of the reason why your parents are dead and why every other Gelfling is dead. But, you know, you just got to do this and maybe you'll live. Maybe.
Yeah. It's better that he didn't know, possibly, because at least then he could be a bit braver about what he was going into. Maybe that's it. Better the devil you know than kind of being this horrible, scary story of, oh, you might die if you go and see the Skeksis.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
It is quite scary though, I think, with the whole draining of the Skeksis.
That's like one of the what a lot of people say it's one of the scariest scenes is the whole the podlings when they get the purple crystal light to them and the eyes go white and everything. It's a bit like but that didn't really faze me at all, to be honest.
I think though now watching the TV series it's even worse because they're kind of like injecting them in the back, and that
and it's a bit more dramatic, isn't it? Because they've got the effects to do that.
I did think, oh really, they've advanced in kind of the
Dark
Crystal. Well, no, because it's like, well, technology looks like it, but maybe not, because like the shard just comes in now and Dark Crystal just kind of beams at you.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's definitely technology that they've not been able to do all of that.
Those effects,
But
it doesn't corrupt the crystal as much, because instead of the crystal coming straight, the energy comes straight from the crystal, it's reflecting off something else, and they can probably find pure white crystals anywhere. As if we were talking about the land.
The caves have all of the crystals, so they can still mine them out and take whatever they need.
So, because the crystals aren't going to stop getting made because they're just made of pressure. Oh, I'm being a biologist now.
That's geologist.
You're also that, so then they can get more, and it's like so smart.
Yeah, I think they've changed, because in the TV series
they're just figuring this out.
Yeah, yes. The Skeksis are at the start of kind of losing their immortality, and they're trying to cheat death, and they're trying to use the crystal life. So it's already been corrupted because they've already broken it, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through experimentation, they're now doing further experimentation, and this is what's doing more and more damage to it. So it's like the Star Wars movies. It's like, even though we now have better technology, the Star Wars movies always have to look like 80s rubbish technology, where they're talking into a what's the one, it's like it's a female's razor that's been painted silver and it's got a few buttons on it or something like that. And
what?
One of the stormtroopers,
a female razor.
Because it's a funny shape. It's like an oval shape, and it's got all these waves on it, and they stuck some buttons on it, spray painted it silver, and there you go, that's your
walkie-talkies.
That's your walkie. So they've kind of, even though the TV series looks more, I mean, it does look more horrific because they've got the effects and stuff.
Yeah.
They can't have it kind of date past like an 80s style, if you understand, and an 80s kind of effects.
Well, the puppets don't look like they've changed. And I think that's what's kept them in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because they haven't changed how they look. Like the Skeksis look almost identical.
That's true.
I couldn't. The only thing that is a difference is they now have tongues that move whilst they talk, and that is creepy.
That
freaked me out. That freaked you guys out.
The first episode, I'm like, their tongues move. It looks like they're actually talking. What's this?
Yeah.
Which is a good way of obviously advancing what was almost like perfect in terms of like the puppetry, but it's like adding that extra level of detail to them, because obviously like that makes them more reptilian in a sense, like the flapping tongues and everything. One of the scenes I like in particular is where they have the Dark Crystal panning shot of like that swamp area where you obviously like Jen's left the Olgra's place where it's been destroyed, and it's kind of like showing all the scenery of like all the wildlife and stuff in this world that they live in. And that's like one of my favorite scenes, because like I want to know more about what what that creature is, and like all these plant life and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys have any scenes that that stick out to you as a favorite.
I like when it's the Chancellor versus Skekmal.
The general.
The general.
No, the general wears the red.
Okay.
When they did the trial
by
sword,
Stone,
because I can quote. I could quote the whole scene, and it's like, Chamberlain, get off my scepter.
Yeah.
And it's like, trial by Stone.
I want to know the other trials.
Yeah.
That would be what else could they have chosen?
Also, my favorite scene was when they're at the dinner table. I want to know what they're eating. Like, they're just putting like fuzzy things in the mouth, and you're like, what is that? And why is that thing rotten? Or why is this thing better than that thing? Why is this considered a pudding?
Why is this person got like nails out to here, and she's just like stabbing her food? Like,
yeah. That for me, that's not one of my favorite scenes, because it kind of goes on for a bit too long. I know it's kind of showing like how, you know, they're almost like royalty, and like, oh, the peasants are bringing us the food type of thing, and it's just
gluttony,
like weird,
isn't it, as well?
Really, that's but it's just going for a bit too long in my mind, like, and it's kind of like, but showing like their disgusting habits of like just like gorging on the food and everything, and it's a bit.
It portrays the Skeksis really well, though, to what characters they are, and I think that's kind of, you need that.
They look really elegant on the outside, because everyone looks like they're covered in so many fabrics, and they're like gold or silver on them, and then when they're eating, they're kind of quite like piggish, so they're shoving things in their mouth. Things are running across the table, they're just throwing plates everywhere. It like shows like how they actually act.
Yeah, it's a very kind of Muppet-like dinner. It's like
they're not actually eating
Yeah.
It's like Cookie Monster.
it is a bit like Cookie Monster.
He puts cookies in his mouth.
And then he's nom. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, there is the one that's sitting there, and he's got a trail of super noodles.
Yeah.
He's got noodles hanging down, and he's like, this is rotten. Oh, it's like
this is delicious, and he's eating it, and then it's the new emperor that's like, this is rotten, and throws it over his head, and it runs off.
Yeah, and he's got all these noodles, and then he just pulls them off, and he's like, and his hand goes for something else. So it's that kind of very kind of Muppet style meal where it's
nothing really gets eaten.
Yeah.
Interesting thing I found about when I was doing a bit of research on that scene in particular, like those little, when they bring out the dessert with those little furry bug things, they're basically like wind up toys, and they just let them loose on the table, and just the puppeteers are just reacting to like however, like, oh, I'll just grab that, or just scream or whatever, and it was just like on the fly really, essentially, which is kind of quite fascinating really, because obviously no control over these little things that were just going all over the place, and it's like really funny.
It would be like one of those, you know, like how you get if you go to like a charity shop, like a toy shop, right? You get like those long like snake noodles with the little googly eyes, and it'd be attached to an invisible string.
Yeah, stuff like
I thought
that.
they'd just be sewing on the roof, like moving.
Like a worm on the string, but they're like just dragging it across.
Like if when the puppeteers who are up on the roof like guiding them really didn't like when the actors done, they would just hit them in the face.
Just hit them in the face with a bit of food.
You want your dessert?
I think it's funny you mentioned that scene goes on a bit long, because I found that there's a few other kind of edits which are quite long. Like you were saying, the bit where Jen's like, oh, what's an Ogra? What's this?
Yeah.
Like his travel is like, you get extended scenes of him walking up a waterfall. And there's also a few others. Like when he's sitting in the water, he tends to be sitting there. He's like, oh, what do I do now? And he's just like looking around until
he's just sitting there. He's not getting up or
stand up.
So there's a couple of scenes like that where it's like, it's just lengthened just to just to give you like a bit of, it doesn't even give you story. I think it's just to get you kind of realizing the situation. He's stuck in the water. Yeah, because you've just watched him be stuck in the water for like 20 seconds or something. It's like, like you say, before the Skeksis actually start talking about the Gelfling escaping and Ogra coming in, you get 5 minutes of them just eating.
Yeah,
and it's there's no talking. There is just them stuffing their faces and stabbing things and whatever. So,
do you have a favorite Skeksis? Do you have like a Skeksis that you
it's definitely Chamberlain. He's but he's the main focus, isn't he? Really,
he's over there, isn't he, Paul?
Oh yeah, little Funko Pop of him.
Oh, hold on. Can I really get it?
God.
We're gonna be like 10 minutes to try and find it.
Oh, she's well excited at this. Yeah, because it's funny because I thought because Chamberlain's so iconic and is like,
yeah, I love that. I love that. It doesn't annoy me. It's kind of just like his little trademark thing. Yeah.
But I wonder because it's Simon Pegg that does the voice for him in the TV series, and I was like, how? Like, I'd like to have heard his audition where it's like, oh, she's back.
You forgot.
No, not them.
I'd like to have heard his audition where it's like, okay, we want you to audition for Chamberlain, and he's like doing some dialogue. It's like, no. You just need to go, the right way, and you just need to make that sound the right way.
Course, that's a good.
And you've got the job.
Isla's got good hums.
That's
that's really cool. Yeah.
From the TV series.
Yeah.
And then
You've got Hop.
Hop.
Oh,
I love Hop.
You got Deet.
Oh, that's
King,
cute.
little
Yeah.
creature.
Oh, yeah.
For all the people that can't actually see this, we're now just comparing Funko Pops from
Yeah.
We are. I'm loving Hop. I would say the Podlings, I don't know, but that's probably more from the TV series. Hop is so cute with his spoon and everything. And I'm like, he's my favorite character. And then I'd say Deet obviously goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
I weirdly find I have more attachment to the TV series. I don't know.
It's got more room to grow and develop, isn't it? With
it's
that.
more interesting, I think, for the story and the basis, and you kind of delve in to understand a lot more of what has happened.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for the story of the Dark Crystal,
I'll admit to that. Yeah, it's very bare bones in terms of like, you know, a guy is going to fulfill a prophecy, and you know, it's got obviously it's kind of like got to meet an amalgamation at this. Of some description at the end, and it's kind of probably likely it's going to succeed. So it's kind of that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But it feels like there's so much more they can add to probably the Dark Crystal that you can see obviously from the TV series. And like you're saying, there's so many things like them, like the swamp scene where you're like, oh, well, what does that animal actually even do? Oh,
yeah,
these things that pop up and you're like, well, what are they? And there's so many things you've got questions for that you don't.
Yeah, like obviously they go to the Gelfling ruins, part of it, and it's like you're kind of thinking again, connecting it to the TV series, thinking, is that the room where like Breya and her clan were from? Kind of thing, because there's that stone chair, and it's the Ormodra and everything. Yeah, so there's that thing. It's like you get theories of like where's this taking place, or like where it was located.
It's kind of, I mean, they did a really good job because from the TV, like they didn't have much to go back on because obviously all the Gelflings are dead. So they did really create a sort of rich history, didn't they? And having the different tribes and the fact that they're all sort of fractured, not getting along. We actually did do an episode on the Dark Crystal about a year ago, remember?
Yeah. Oh, when we started doing podcasts, and Dad used to write out scripts for us.
Oh, yeah.
This was one of the things. It'd be so funny to come read it. Here's your script. You'd be reading. It's like, oh, what's that? So glad you asked.
I'm so glad you asked that question, Neve. But we'd recorded the episode, and I think we'd gone downstairs for dinner.
Yeah.
And I hadn't saved it, and this is also my work computer, and my dad had come up and go, oh, Andrew has saved that. I'll close it.
Oh no.
And it was one of those things where it's like, well, I don't really want to sit down and do it
again,
like right after, and we've just never gotten back to do it. Which it seems strange because, you know, we were so happy when you guys were like, hey, do you want to do this film with us? And we're like, actually, yeah, we really will.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Glad.
We missed it last time.
We're so happy that you're on board with it, and obviously you're very passionate about the film as well for growing up with it as well. So it's good to have you as guests, to say, for talking about this, because I could talk all day about like all these little theories and things and all the kind of like ins and outs of what
you've done loads of research though today, bless you. You really have, like you've been really delving into all these facts and everything about it. And you even have a book somewhere.
Yeah, I do. It's down here. I don't know. It's
not
good for the audio thing, but I'll do some posts on social media. But there's like a visual,
the ultimate visual history.
Oh my
so
God.
it's quite like in depth on like obviously like the production and stuff about it, like, you know, initial concepts of the designs and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting read. I'll definitely say that.
And I think it's a real shit, because this was when we recorded the podcast last time. The kids weren't aware, but Netflix is now, they're not picking it up for a second series.
Wait, what?
No.
I told you this.
Yeah, we knew this, but it was so
You've probably
sad
forgotten.
because they had so much set up, because Aughra had talked about the Age of Resistance, and then the first what was it called when all the suns
Age of Convergence.
Age of Convergence. So you had
And
the
they
Age
were
of
gonna have a party about it. They were going to celebrate all the suns lining up, and they thought it was a sign that the Skeksis would go away. But then, now that we've watched the movie, we understand that that's not going to happen. But I want to know how they all died. What did the Skeksis come out with that went, we can get all of them?
We should film it.
We should. We have so many. We have so many movies to film. We have so many.
Yeah, I understand that it's like they obviously spent a lot getting the first series up, but I mean they now have all the puppets, they have all the costumes. Like that's your like initial costs and stuff like that.
They have the sets still.
They
as
also
well.
they still have their old sets.
So it seems strange that they wouldn't go. You know, there's so much lore and so much story because you're just getting it's not the Gethin, what are they called?
Garthim.
Yeah.
So the Garthin have obviously at the end of the TV series, that's the reveal that's how they're going to capture and kill off the rest of the Gelflings. So you could slot in, you know, to be fair, like 8 to 10 episodes just to cover like the end of the Gelflings.
I agree. Yeah.
That would lead into, you know, it ends up in that sort of Star Wars way where they hide away a couple of Gelflings that over 1,000 years slowly peter out until all you're left with is Jen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe there might be more in like the sin as a hidden place. Like you know how you two watched Bird Box? There's like this massive cage of other life that the mum and the two kids didn't think was there.
Oh, and the death hospital or the death school.
Oh, the death hospital. Yeah. So there could
be more Gelfling.
And also there's more because the Dark Crystal's corrupting the land as well. That's kind of hinted at the end, and how it's fully corrupted. Who's the girl?
Deet.
Who's that? Deet. It's fully corrupted Deet. So there's obviously more story to how it can corrupt the rest of the land, and you know how it basically, because by the time you get to Dark Crystal, it's like, you know,
a
the
barren wasteland.
Yeah.
But I will say, out of my friend group, I was the only one to have watched the Dark Crystal when the TV show came out. So trying to explain it to other people, it's like, oh, it's about these like weird rat bird purple things that are like
dictators.
They're dictators, but they're kind of like also the mirror image of like a mystic, which is like an armadillo with an extra set of hands. Yeah. But it was like I was the only one to watch it, so I understand it's probably a very niche thing.
Yeah, I guess
that is being made, and then they thought, wow, we'll rebuild this for all the adults who want to watch this, and then not as many adults came back to it.
Yeah,
it's a weird following. You either watch it once and you're like, all right, this was okay, you know, past the time, or you watch it and you're just like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, like
we need to watch it again.
We got the puppetry, we got all this, and you really go for it. It's either one or other. It's kind of like you're really involved in it, or you watch it once, it's all right.
To be fair, I don't think, as much as people like yourselves, me, like film vloggers, a few others, we're all going back to like practical effects.
Yeah.
I don't think adults want to watch puppets, if you understand.
No, it's more like a kid's thing, isn't it, really, when you think about it in the basic premise of it. Yeah.
But it's fascinating to think, like, I actually watched The Dark Crystal the second time, and I was more watching how they were going to shoot things, how they were angling the puppets. I was more interested in that than the actual storyline, if I'm completely honest. That's the bit that kind of intrigued me the most. And I think that kind of adds the value of the watch. I think actually the story, if it didn't have the puppets and it was just, let's say, take that away, it would not be half as special. Like, let's say if we had humans acting.
That's what they initially thought about doing, but Jim Henson was like, no, we want this whole film to be just puppets, which I think works in its favour because it makes it so unique and it's not really been done since then. So
and I'm really gutted about the fact that the Netflix aren't going to do it again, because I've got so many questions. I feel like there's just so much more they can do with this, and
we'll just have to make our own series.
Because I hope that Dee is okay. Like, I really want to know that she's all right. So I'm thinking, after the fact that the darkening, I don't know, will she still even be around then? I don't know, to be fair. But like, obviously, when they put the shard in, does that get rid of the darkening then? And then will she be okay if she's still alive at that point? You know, there's all these things where it's like, well, what about the aftermath?
Okay, so say, because she has become the darkening, what if she goes to the crystal and tries to absorb the darkening out of it to heal the land? But instead of getting absorbing stuff out of it, she actually gets absorbed into the crystal. and by putting the shard in the crystal, it frees deep.
We
need to know this.
We need
to know this.
It might be like a Hobbit type situation. They made Hobbit 1 and 2. I didn't think they were going to make Hobbit 3, and then they did.
Yeah, but they'd already made it by the time you were born.
Hobbit 3, no, the third Hobbit, where the White Orc. We saw that in cinemas. I thought.
No. Oh. You just took a break between watching 1 and 2 to get to 3. That was all.
Aww.
No.
I thought it came out like only a few years ago.
I probably tried to recreate that. It's like, because the Lord of the Rings film came out every year, I maybe showed a Hobbit 1 and 2, and then I'm like, yep, you can't watch Hobbit 3 until next year. You made
me wait ages. It was like you showed me 1 and 2 one year, and then I waited maybe like 7 years in that time.
That long.
In that time,
7 years. That's like.
But yeah, they've got a lot of stuff they can do. What's happening with the darkening, all that kind of thing.
And they've spent so much money getting the puppets. Like that's the hardest part to understand. It's like they made all of the puppets. Like, why not make another series? It's not going to cost as much.
Yeah, the funny thing is, it's like, if it's not the Muppets, Jim Henson stuff has had a really kind of rocky history.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about Labyrinth once, and there's now like a Jareth Ball in New York. Or pre-COVID, there was a Jareth Labyrinth Ball where everybody got dressed up as characters from Labyrinth.
You should have taken us to New York.
But the problem is, like this, when Labyrinth came out, it's like people didn't like it. They said like Jennifer Connelly was a terrible actress, like David Bowie was just too hammy, and it wasn't his kind of style of music. It was and they said the same about this. They're like, oh, I was like 7 or 8 when this came out. I didn't see this in the cinema. I saw this on video. But they said it's like, it's too scary. The plot's too thin. It's a puppet movie. It's like, why would you go and see this if you understand? So, like, Jim Henson stuff has not, he's absolutely brilliant, but it's a shame because all of his stuff
aged like a wine.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. People like it more now.
Yeah. But the problem is, I feel that if they're not going to do anything with Age of Resistance, basically people will, like, if I don't show it to you, you'll hopefully one day show it to your kids.
Yeah.
But that pool of people that are going to watch it are going to become less and less. It's going to get lost to history, sadly.
Sadly, it's just one of those things. But maybe they'll decide years down the line, because it feels like I was so excited when they started announcing about this prequel. I'm like, oh my god, this is like this is fantastic and stuff. So it's like it's been like obviously a long.
Maybe they're trying to build up the hype. Maybe they're saying now it's like, we're not going to do this. They're going to let it all boil up.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, we're doing it.
The price is real.
You don't even get an ad for it. It just one day you go into Netflix and it's like
it's there.
Dark Crystal season 2.
It'd be amazing.
Probably come out in America first, and then we'll just have to wait another 2 weeks. Oh my god!
Doesn't matter. You'd still be getting it. That'd be fine.
Yeah. Going back to the whole thing of obviously like the initial release of Dark Crystal, when Jim Henson did the initial pre-screening of the film, and he thought it was a good idea. Him and Frank Oz thought it was a good idea to just have, I think it was the Gelflings talk English and everything else almost going like in a gibberish language, and thinking that would pass. I really don't know what they were thinking in terms of like how they thought that was going to fly, in terms of thing that would alienated a lot of the people to go see the film in the first place. So I'm kind of glad they actually did change, although they had to do a lot of dubbing after the fact. And it kind of feels like, obviously on reflection of knowing that information, it's almost like watching a like American dubbed anime, when they're kind of doing like it doesn't seem to flow in terms of what they're trying to convey in terms of what the Japanese or Chinese whatever kind of animation is going for. And it's so it's a bit that sentence doesn't make sense. Maybe it's why, but the fact that Jen was spoken English from the get-go but his is the most jarring in terms of what he's saying, like when he's kind of like these stupid questions that he comes across saying. It's a bit strange.
I quite like how the podlings, they don't speak.
Don't
speak. I quite like that because they had their whole language and they sounded really cute and they looked really cute.
That works.
It's so cute. And in the TV show Hop, you can't make sense of him, but you can understand him.
Yeah,
it's like a Wallace and Gromit thing. All the other people bar Wallace and Gromit like speak gibberish.
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, you mean like Shaun the Sheep?
Yeah, sorry, Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay, get that.
Yeah.
There's no speaking, but it's just like
yeah.
It's like your Animal Crossing. I go into Isla's bedroom in the morning, she's playing Animal Crossing, all you hear is like,
yeah, Sophie's plays Animal Crossing as well, and she's like, oh yeah, all these characters go.
I love Animal Crossing, but that's something.
So cute.
It is. I think was it on the Wii initially, or
Yeah,
something like that. So I've been played it from
DS.
yeah, ages ago. I loved Animal Crossing, but it's just one of those things. It's just adorably cute.
Yeah.
And Hop, but you feel his emotion in the TV series. I think, even though he's not speaking, you know what he's saying, and he's got a heart of gold, and
it's spin.
Yeah,
that's all you need. He just holds it, and he's like so brave, and he's like protecting Dee. But when something scary comes around, he kind of just chucks his spin and runs, and it's like
I love it.
Works. Yeah, it works with his characters. Like when he turns up and he's like, "I'm a great warrior," and he's got like a frying pan and a spoon. You're like, yeah, that's what a podling warrior would have. It's like, you know,
they wouldn't have swords or anything like
exactly.
that. No, he doesn't have his frying pan on him here.
He's got a spoon in that one.
He's got a spoon.
I guess that,
he has a frying. He has like a semi frying pan.
Frying pan,
I can imagine it would hurt somebody if you whacked them with force, though, with a spoon. You probably would get a mark.
Let's try it. Maybe it looks like a wooden spoon, but it's actually like a super strong metal spoon that looks like wooden. So
with
people,
a sharpened edge.
Yeah, so people don't think he's intimidating and will come up to him and be like, "Oh, this is an easy fight." And then Hop just turns around with like this fake wooden
serrated spoon.
He like boomerangs it and just goes straight down. Like, it's like, don't mess with
how did puppet peel? That would be funny. A puppet peels in hand, and you just see this hand is still there as the puppet falls apart around it.
It's just
like
like,
one hand sticking.
Oh no!
Like,
yeah.
I've been
I gotta go.
Does he not beat up a Gelfling at some point?
He beats up one of the. He
beat up one of the Skeksis. Like he goes around and beats their shoes or something.
Yeah.
And he gets flung across the room.
He beats up the snottery one who dies in the. No, he dies in the TV show. It's not Skigmal. Like, you know, the female with like those massive balls of like snot.
Yeah.
He beats up Hop beats up her with like a spoon, and then she just chucks him.
Yeah.
I do feel sorry for Hop, but he's I think Mother Augur for me, and Deet in the TV, and then Hop would be my main.
We need the series to get more of Hop. That's what we need.
Hop.
Yeah.
We need a series dedicated to him.
Why did he want to become a world warrior so badly?
Paladin,
yeah.
Didn't you see? I thought this was hilarious. The princess has got to go and watch the podlings, and you see a podling bum.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Man, yeah. It's like puppetry has now got the point. It's like, great, we've got miniature podling bums, and they're all running around in the nude.
I wonder if they did a thing like they did with Vision. They had a whole wall just covered
in podling bums.
No, and they had a whole wall for doing Marvel. When Vision comes up, they had the whole wall just covered. And what would Vision's penis look like? And they had a whole wall of it. And they were like, "Oh, would it be like a would they have a wall of podling bums? Would they like pick one out?"
Does it have to be toy? Is it round? Is it more?
We do not need to talk about this.
Is it like a Ken bun? Does it have pants on it?
Does it probably have pants on it?
Like made on.
This is what I have to put up with. It's
no,
like
this is what you talk about.
It's what I talk about.
Very, very good point.
Are you going to do that now? You're going to go and decorate your bedroom with podling bums?
Well, you see Jen a couple of times in the Dark Crystal as well, don't you? He's like naked. The first introduction to him, he's playing his pipe naked by a stream, and then there's obviously in the Dreamfast scene, he's like, "I'm having a bath." It's like, why do we need to know that information?
I feel like with Dreamfasting, you should be able to kind of give parts of yourself.
Yeah, you don't need to
and you don't
all
need
the
to
information.
like, I wouldn't want to show somebody me having a bath. I'd be like, right, okay, I'll put that bit to a side.
That's the side.
I think Dreamfasting is kind of like it's kind of like you don't get to choose what you get to see. It's kind of like it's more like
it would be major events. So I don't know how a bath is a major event.
It might just be like in Deet's memory, she was by the water. When you think of water, I either think of shower or baths. I think it's just memories that pop into your head as soon as that you can see.
Oh, possibly. See,
say you wanted to keep a dark secret away from someone. So it's like, I found out that your
You
hair's
ate all the
fake.
chocolate.
Like your hair's fake, right? It's a wig. And so if we dream fasted, that's probably going to be the first thing that pops into my head.
What, my hair's fake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you'd be like, oh my god,
Well,
you
no,
know my secret.
I think the reason it's like that is because in the TV series, I think they do it more often so they can control it.
Yeah.
This is the first time that, I mean, I'm surprised she even knows what it is, because she's never had to dream fast with somebody, if you understand.
That's true. Yeah.
And little hops.
Hoblins? You're making me say Podlins can't do it.
Yeah, so how would they know? Maybe it's like.
So this is the thing. I mean, she obviously knows from somewhere what it is. It's plot armor. It's fine. It's sorted.
Yeah,
but,
you just have to assume that the mother or somebody told her or something. Yeah.
Maybe Hop passed it on to all the podlings, and then they that's how they know.
But I think the reason it's that is they're just throwing out memories is because they don't know what it is. Maybe it is because he's in the water and he's like, oh, this is me having a bath, and that's the memory he associates with being wet or something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
But they obviously have no control because they've never done it.
Yeah.
They've never.
It's kind of just
before.
a brief summary.
So say if we had a season 2 and the podlings found out the Hop fought aside the podling king, would he become the dictator of
Yeah,
podlings?
Possibly.
That's what we need
We
to
never
see.
we saw podling communities, but we didn't see like a podling.
There must be a
Dictatorship.
podler. There must be a podler ruler.
Podlings are communists.
Everything is equal.
Well,
Have you got podling dictatorship?
No, but I
on
put
it?
down here as like the Mystics are obviously the Welsh, because they have the singing voices, they have the deep baritone singing.
Yeah.
I've got the podlings are definitely the Irish, because they're always running around naked and
Drinking and
stuff
being
like that.
merry.
And they're small
Yeah, I've got Fizgig is obviously Scottish because he's just loud and violent
and
just
angry.
screams a lot. The only thing I could put down for was that the Skeksis are obviously the Tories, or some communist ruling party, which
No, because they can't be communists because they have an emperor.
Yeah,
so they're a dictatorship.
Okay, so they're a dictatorship, and then I thought, well, that by default makes the
They're all Karens.
they're all Karens. That by
They
default.
are all Karens.
Oh, the Skeksis.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're all like, we should have more energy. I should ruler because I've got bigger bargains at the shop. Like, imagine Karens being the Skeksis.
Can't say it. We'll get cancelled now. That's it. You've ruined both our.
Oh no!
We can't call things Karens.
Yeah.
apparently.
Hold on. American people is Karens now in America a hate word apparently.
Yep. So that's us.
And
So
is
we've ruined
Boomer.
it, Neve. I can't believe you've done this. You've done this, Neve.
We'll edit this out. Shh. We'll edit it out in post-production. That's fine.
No one will know.
So just that, like, this is now 30 odd years old. Obviously we still love it. Is this going to go on the list if you guys have kids? Is this going to go on the list of like, yeah, we have to, as soon as Junior's old enough to watch this? Well,
Yeah.
Junior. I don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl, but
Oh yeah, no.
Virginia.
this is getting watched at some point. This will carry on, yeah.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, yeah.
I don't think I would say it. Like, literally, Paul is that obsessed. Like, even if I didn't want this to happen, I would not get a choice.
It's not the worst.
No, it's
thing
really
anyway. It's
not.
like
No.
If
Adam
we
Sandler, isn't
showed
it?
our kids it, it'll be like a 60-year-old movie by that
Yeah,
point.
by that point, yeah,
It'll
yeah.
be so old.
You're showing your dogs it, so they won't know.
It'll be so old.
Yeah.
I just can't.
This was a funny thing, because this was kind of part of the reason I started the podcast. It's like all these films will get, like, eventually will get
Yeah.
lost.
Yes.
People won't watch this because it's fairly niche. Like, they'll still have a following, but it'll diminish over time. And I mean, this is going to happen for like all films,
Other than the Avengers.
but eventually the Avengers will be replaced with something else. And,
Certainly.
it's like eventually, you look at films and it's like, like there was a Jaws film once, there was Citizen Kane, there was Psycho, and like literally there's like
I never
people.
heard of Psycho before you said it.
Yeah.
The only thing I realized that I knew was the music. That was the only thing I actually recognized, but I never heard of the movie Psycho.
But a lot of these things, like they'll eventually just sort of
Fade.
disappear. So,
Yeah.
So it's a shame. So it's like, that's why I kind of really hope that there is a Netflix season 2 that this style of puppetry
It might be like the
keeps going.
The Incredibles. It comes out like another 30 years.
Yeah, you have to wait a long time.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
exactly.
what was the
You were
difference
16.
between that movie and the first season? And what if they put that on again and then they make the second season?
I'd be like 100 back.
It was probably about a 30-year gap.
Yeah. So what if they do another 30-year gap until the
I'm in
next?
my 40s. Yeah, I'd be 45. No, I'd be 44.
Is that terrible, Neve?
Yeah, that's old.
I'll be older.
Older, yeah.
I'll
70.
be older. But yeah, I just hope that this film kind of stays around for a while and people still remember it and love it and
Yeah.
Yeah,
get a lot of
absolutely.
joy out of it. Because like we've said, it does have a few issues, but even on its own without the TV series, I think still a lot of people have a lot of love for this.
Fondness,
film.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Me personally, yeah, definitely.
You really do, don't you?
Yeah.
I know our little ones will definitely. I feel like the Skeksis, I don't know if they've got a bit of me gene. Don't show them very young a Skeksis
No,
because
no.
I probably would have been frightened if I'd have seen a Skeksis at a young age. I didn't even like, Ghost, the shadows in Ghost.
Oh yeah,
when that I used to watch that as a
They
little
haven't seen
child,
that
and that
one.
scared me.
I was surprised. I will say, plugging one of your previous episodes, I'm surprised you watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, that doesn't sound like.
He's put me through the ring in Halloween. I hated all of it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything that you'd want to watch on any level. I've only watched it once. I remember watching it once, and it's like, yeah, that's enough. I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
I'm when it comes to like those movies, I'm fine if it's like gory horror, like someone's bleeding or whatever. But as soon as it comes out with someone jumping around corners with like a chain, that is horrifying.
Isla doesn't like horror at all.
I just don't understand it. Like I like horror games, but I couldn't play one, or I would literally like sit there
Resident Evil.
sweating for days. There would just be a pool of me. But like I can watch people play them, and I'm fine with that. I couldn't watch a film. If I could watch someone watching a film, I don't know if that would work.
It's like when we were doing Resident Evil, Isla was sitting on the couch, 100% okay with it. And like as soon as something jumped out, I was like behind the couch. I had to like name them stupid names. Like I had
to make you feel
name
better.
them something like Harold. Like it was Hubert, and then you had Linda, and you had Karen was in the wine cellar. You had all these things, and to get past the point that I was scared. I was like, Linda, stop!
I love it.
That's great. That's
I'm going to use that technique, I think.
Yeah.
It's a really good technique.
Leatherface wouldn't be so bad if his name was Linda.
Yeah.
Linda, she's
Linda, killing these kids won't give you no coupons. Is it kids who kill?
What?
Kids, like teenagers, like with face. Like who goes into like the camp and like.
Oh, that's Jason.
Jason.
They've got to learn about all these.
I'm probably
They
not going
just
to watch them. Actually,
No.
I'm probably not going to
We
watch
found
them.
Halloween funny though.
I mean,
Halloween
I
was
still screamed.
Halloween was funny because everyone just went cross-eyed when they were about to die, and it was the funniest thing to look at.
Okay, I think we'll get to the scoring now of what we thought of the Dark Crystal. So you guys would go first with your scores.
I'm going.
Oh, yeah, oldest.
Will we'll
go
do this
for-
by
we'll go
committee
for-
of 8?
An 8.
8.5?
No,
No.
9. No,
Nine?
9.5.
You
9.8.
9.8.
No, I'm gonna say 9. We have to rein this in a little bit. There's a few issues, but I think a 9. This is
9.25.
No,
we would go.
we don't
so
need a fraction.
This would be an awesome source for us because we only have like 6 categories. But
Okay.
I think this is the 9. This is not perfect, but this is really, really, really
Close.
really good.
Yeah.
I'd say a 9. I'd say
Yeah.
a 9.
9.
Okay, we're gonna give it a 9.
9.
collectively.
Okay. And I'm the same as well. 9. It's not perfect. Obviously, more the storyline is the weakest part, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's a couple of issues, but it's just the whole lore that goes into the film and still to this day, like I've been saying, like I keep wanting to come back to it and learn more. I've got the books, I've got like whatever resources I can come across to like know more. Like I know there's like a graphic novel series about like what happened after the fact of that film. So it's like I haven't
really?
got round to reading it yet, but something that I'm interested in learning about to know more about,
It's on
like
your
what
Christmas list, isn't it?
It is now, yeah.
So you're gonna break our hearts now.
I'm
aren't you?
probably going to break your heart, Paul.
Oh, please.
4.
No.
No, it's not that bad.
Hard to say a 4.
So I know yours is coming from nostalgia,
Yeah,
probably as
definitely.
well.
Also, yeah.
So I obviously only watched this because of you. I don't think I'd have ever seen this film, probably not if I hadn't met Paul. It wouldn't have been on my radar because I used to only watch chick flicks, so it would never have probably entered my world. I'm grateful for you for that. I am. Now I'm a storyline girl. I really like to get involved in a character and really love to kind of get attached. I think the only one you get a glimpse of Mother Aughra.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And I think if I'm judging this just on the Dark Crystal and not the TV series, then it's gonna be lower than I'm making you anxious.
Yeah, you are. Go on, just get to the point.
I want to carry on now, just because you can see you sweating.
Go on. We're getting nervous.
So I think on that basis alone, and the reason why it's been scored so highly is mainly for the puppetry and not the storyline, because the storyline is absolute crap. It's going to be an 8.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go.
Right.
That's okay then. That's all
I
right.
was scared you were going to turn around and say it's not a 4, it's a 5.
No,
I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's acceptable.
Oh, look, you're smiling now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Can wipe the sweat off.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to the film that, like, you can still look at the puppet work, and we sometimes talk about stuff like the costumes, the sets, and stuff like that. I mean, they all look like Mother Aughra's costume, the Skeksis, they're kind of over the top costumes and stuff. You can still find like a lot of love has gone to it. There's a lot of detail in it, and like you say, maybe the story by today's standards doesn't really mash up. But I mean, if you put it next to like other 80s films, you're like
Commando.
Like, I don't think you put the Dark Crystal next to Commando.
I have put the Dark Crystal next to Commando, which is better.
The Dark Crystal.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, Commando has its
Commando
place.
sucks, nope.
But it's like, stories weren't great in the 80s. You got to admit that for a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think you've given it a. It's an 80s movie.
Dad's best excuse for all things bad. It's like, it's an 80s movie. It just makes sense.
They just don't make them like that. But
yeah,
I mean, you can see there's a lot of love. There's a lot of technical ability gone into it. And like you say, when you've got the book, there's as much behind the scenes that's interesting as is in front of the camera as well. So
that's true. Yeah.
Fingers crossed this lasts a lot longer, and we maybe one day get that.
In
series
another 30
2.
years, we'll get season 2.
We'll get season 2 in another 30 years. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I would definitely be excited to see another series come out of this.
Yeah, and I would definitely watch it. I would, as long as Hop and Deke are in it.
Yeah.
If they aren't in it, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I'd probably watch it
You probably
3 or 4 times anyway.
I'd be like, have you seen Thor going to see the Avengers Civil War? Apparently he sat in the background like, there's not enough hammers. Where's Thor? Thor's the best. Where's he?
Would you be complaining about
Yeah,
it?
I'd be like, oh, this would be so much better if Pop was here. Where's he? Where's the wooden spoons?
Yeah.
So where can everybody find you guys on the social medias and stuff? You like to plug your show, obviously, to the listeners.
We are Kids What We're Watching Tonight. We're on Instagram, Twitter. You can find us on Good Pods, Spotify, Apple, and like yourselves, we just watch a mixture of movies, classics, new movies.
And then we ruin your childhood by telling you everything's wrong with them.
Yeah, basically. They either they're saying they love them, or they're telling me how rubbish my taste in 80s movies is. All these films.
We ruin his dreams, or we agree.
Yeah, but no, we just do it for fun and have a laugh and stuff. So yeah, you can find us most places.
Sounds amazing. Definitely go and check them out. I know we only do this for fun and sometimes to torture me, I think, to be fair.
A little bit, yeah. Secretly. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
I love it when I have a birthday special because it's all my picks. So Paul always picks all the films. I have a birthday special and I get to pick 3 films, and I lay it on thick, don't I?
Hold on, we should do that. I can make you watch Twilight.
Yeah.
Twilight 1, 2, and 3.
That's it.
Wait, no, Twilight 1, 3, and 5, because 2 and 4 suck.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's all right then. Yeah.
Right. Well, look. I just want to say that from all of us, thank you very much for having us on this show. We appreciate it. It's always good to talk films with other people and
Absolutely.
get input. Did you enjoy that?
Yes. We finally got to talk about that, Crystal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yay.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And I think you made Paul really, really happy, because I don't feel I brought as much to this as you guys did. So thank you.
So thank you very much for joining us, guys, and hopefully maybe in the future you have you on again.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Maybe we'll have you.
We'll do Top Gun.
No.
Yes.
Please. No more 80 movies. That's bad.
Right. All right. On that note, kids, you're grounded. Go brush your teeth.
It's 8 o'clock.
Doesn't matter. You're still grounded. I'm father. Look, anyway, look, thank you very much for having us. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll catch up on another episode soon.
Brilliant.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
So thank you very much for listening to this episode, and thank you to our guests.
So definitely go and check out Kids What We're Watching. They are brilliant, and obviously they are so knowledgeable in film. And the dad, it's just a lovely relationship that they've got.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that one day Paul has that relationship when we have a child.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. That's what I'm
You
striving
never
for.
know.
But be a
Might
while
have
yet. But yeah,
a little one coming and joining us if we're carrying on with this podcast that long.
for we'll see. Or resurgence.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Netflix series. So be sure to check out all our episodes on the lead up to 100 episodes of ours. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Good Pods, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And also be sure to follow us on social media, Instagram and Twitter mostly, under the handle SP_filmviewers. And also be sure to rate and review our episodes on Good Pods and Podchaser to get the algorithm going and getting us out there a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And to be fair, it's soon coming up to Christmas. We're going to be doing a couple of little things that are secret and we're not going to tell you as of yet.
Yeah.
So stay tuned on that. There's some lovely things that are coming up for Christmas, which Sophie loves. But if you want to be so kind and generous, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee page. It should be Buy Paul a Coffee page. So please, if you do feel generous and feel giving, by all means, any little bit is appreciated.
So thank you very much once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye-bye.